I remember being 40 miles deep into a rugged trail, staring blankly at a dead screen because my cheap Bike Computer had suddenly failed. I was entirely lost, physically exhausted, and absolutely furious. Buying the right cycling computer is an absolute nightmare right now. You are constantly forced to decode confusing technical specs, and half the time the budget options drop your GPS signal the second you hit heavy tree cover. It simply shouldn't be this hard to accurately track your ride and find your way home. I've spent months testing the market's top units, so you don't have to suffer that same fate. Let me explain exactly which ones are worth your money, starting from the budget tees all the way up to the ultimate cycling companion. 7. IGPSPORT BSC100S. Starting off our list at number 7 is the IGPSPORT BSC100S. When I first pulled this unit out of the box, I was cautiously optimistic. It features a 2.6-inch screen and promises a completely wireless, straightforward GPS experience for an incredibly low entry price. The physical installation is quick, locking onto a standard quarter-turn mount with a satisfying click, and the overall profile looks reasonably sleek on the handlebars for a budget device. Taking it out on the road, it certainly does the bare minimum of tracking your speed and distance. It powers on quickly enough, and the screen layout is basic but functional if you just want to know how fast you are rolling. I tested it on a few familiar local loops, and the speed tracking felt mostly aligned with my actual effort, providing a simple, distraction-free interface for someone who just wants to pedal. But here is where the reality of the price tag hits hard. The screen visibility absolutely suffers the moment you ride into direct, harsh sunlight. I found myself having to shift my head constantly just to read my current speed to avoid the terrible glare. Furthermore, the GPS lock on time can be painfully sluggish. I spent way too many mornings standing freezing at the end of my driveway, waiting for the unit to finally find a satellite signal before I could start my workout. The data syncing process is another major headache. Trying to pull my ride data into the companion app often required multiple attempts and a lot of patience, which is the last thing you want after a grueling 2-hour session. It lacks any form of route navigation, meaning you are entirely on your own for directions. This is strictly for absolute beginners on a tight budget, but if you ride regularly, the daily friction of using this device will undoubtedly test your patience. 6. COOSPO BC107. Moving to number 6, we have the COOSPO BC107. This is another entry-level contender that attempts to bring more connectivity to the budget space. It utilizes a slightly smaller 2.4-inch display and boasts a fairly rugged exterior casing. I mounted this on my secondary gravel bike to see how it handled rougher terrain and constant vibrations over washboard dirt roads. The biggest selling point here is that it actually supports both ANT+ and Bluetooth sensor connections. This means I was able to successfully pair my heart rate monitor and a separate cadence sensor, which is a nice touch for a device in this price bracket. Having that extra layer of physiological data displayed on the screen makes it feel slightly more advanced than a simple digital speedometer. However, the user interface feels completely stuck in the past. Navigating through the settings menus using the stiff, clunky physical buttons is an incredibly frustrating experience. You have to memorize awkward button combinations just to perform simple tasks. On top of that, while the company claims a massive 28-hour battery life, my real-world testing showed it dying significantly faster, especially when riding in colder morning temperatures where the battery percentage simply plummeted. Another glaring issue I encountered was the companion app reliability. The app feels unpolished and prone to crashing right in the middle of a Bluetooth sync. You end up crossing your fingers, hoping your hard-earned ride data actually makes it to your tracking apps. While it holds onto a GPS signal slightly better than the previous unit, the clunky operation and unpredictable battery drain make it very hard to trust on longer, unsupported rides. 5. IGPSPORT BSC200S. Now we're getting into territory that actually makes sense for most dedicated weekend warriors. The IGPSPORT BSC200S is sitting at number 5, and it brings a massive upgrade to the handlebars. The build quality feels immediately superior in the hand, featuring a crisp 2.5-inch display that utilizes a highly durable glass cover. The biggest and most crucial upgrade here is the introduction of route navigation. Uploading a GPX file actually works seamlessly, and having that turn-by-turn breadcrumb trail saved me several times when exploring unfamiliar country backroads. It doesn't have a full background map, but the line on the screen is highly accurate and gives you enough warning before a crucial turn approaches. The battery life on the BSC200S is a massive step up from the previous budget units. I managed to get through an entire week of heavy, intense riding without ever needing to reach for a charging cable. Additionally, the data fields are beautifully customizable through the app, allowing you to prioritize the specific metrics you actually care about, rather than being forced into a rigid default layout. Here's what matters with the BSC200S. It effectively bridges the gap between budget frustration and premium features. The screen contrast is sharp, the post-ride syncing is finally fast and reliable, and it delivers a consistent experience without draining your wallet. It is a fantastic, reliable stepping stone for riders who are ready to start exploring new routes safely. 4. GEOID CC700 Pro. Stepping firmly into the modern era at number 4 is the GEOID CC700 Pro. This device introduces a full touchscreen interface to the mix, and it completely changes the interaction dynamic on the bike. When I mounted this sleek, aerodynamic unit on my stem, the modern profile immediately stood out against older, blockier designs. The touchscreen responsiveness is surprisingly excellent for this price bracket. Swiping through various data screens with sweaty fingers or light gloves wasn't the hassle I expected it to be. It feels much closer to operating a modern smartphone. The menus are intuitively laid out, meaning I didn't need to consult a manual to figure out how to start a ride or pair a new power meter. Smart notifications are integrated beautifully into this system. Getting text alerts and incoming call notifications right on the screen meant I could leave my phone safely zipped inside a waterproof jersey pocket during long weekend grinds. Furthermore, the GPS lock is incredibly fast, utilizing multiple global satellite systems to pinpoint my exact location in mere seconds. Bottom line, the GEOID CC700 Pro offers a premium feeling, modern interaction at a very reasonable mid-tier price. If you are tired of mashing stiff physical buttons while trying to maintain your pedaling cadence, this smooth touchscreen experience is an absolute breath of fresh air. It makes managing your ride data feel effortless. 3. COOSPO CS600. Coming in at number 3, the COOSPO CS600 is where performance tracking starts getting incredibly serious. Taking this unit out on long, demanding endurance rides proved to me that you don't always need to pay massive flagship prices to get rock-solid, professional-grade reliability. The construction is robust, easily surviving a few accidental drops in my garage. What stood out to me immediately was the sheer quality of the display. Even under the harshest midday sun on exposed roads, the contrast remains absolutely spectacular. I never had to squint, change my posture, or shade the screen with my hand to clearly read my power output or heart rate zones. It just works flawlessly across all lighting conditions. The companion app experience with the CS600 is remarkably polished and stable. Analyzing my post-ride performance data felt intuitive, and syncing my completed workouts happened instantly the moment I walked through my front door. The data accuracy, especially the barometric altimeter for elevation gain, matched up perfectly with known geological benchmarks on my local mountain climbs. Let me explain why this unit is ranked so high. It is an absolute workhorse. It doesn't freeze mid-ride, it never drops critical sensor connections, and it provides a level of data consistency that ambitious amateurs absolutely rely on when training for massive milestone events. It is a tool you can completely trust. 2. IGPSPORT BSC100T. Sitting securely in the runner-up position is the IGPSPORT BSC100T. This device is an absolute powerhouse that genuinely shocked me during my testing phase. It brings a stunning, vibrant color display and advanced, deeply detailed mapping features that legitimately rival the biggest, most expensive names in the cycling industry. The full color touchscreen mapping is a total game changer for explorers. I deliberately took this unit deep into a confusing maze of unfamiliar logging roads, and the detailed, pre-loaded color maps made navigation completely stress-free. The screen redraws quickly and smoothly as you ride, ensuring you never miss a sudden, in turn on a fast descent. Beyond just the impressive mapping, the training metrics are incredibly deep and accommodating. It seamlessly handled multiple power meters, rear radar tail lights, and advanced electronic shifting systems without missing a single beat. Having all of that complex data beautifully visualized on a vibrant color screen transforms your handlebars into a high-end command center. Here's what matters most about the BSC300T. It gives you roughly 95% of the ultra-premium flagship experience for a mere fraction of the cost. The build quality feels exceptionally premium, the touchscreen remains flawless even in pouring rain, and the intelligent battery management is superb. It is simply an exceptional piece of modern engineering. 1. Garmin Edge 850. Finally, taking the #1 top spot is the Garmin Edge 850, and frankly, it operates entirely in a league of its own. The moment I bolted this device onto my bike, every other computer instantly felt like it was playing a desperate game of catch-up. This is the undisputed, absolute gold standard for cycling computers today. The integration of both a highly responsive, vivid touch screen and tactile physical buttons is a brilliant design choice. When you're sweating heavily on a summer climb or wearing thick, cumbersome winter gloves, having the option to use physical buttons alongside touch gestures gives you total, uncompromising control in literally any weather condition. The user interface is lightning fast, effortlessly flipping through highly intricate training pages. The advanced performance analytics are what truly set this unit miles apart from the competition. Features like dynamic performance monitoring, targeted adaptive daily coaching, and the incredible Climb Pro interface completely revolutionized how I paced my hardest rides. It visually tells you exactly how much suffering is left on a hill, accurately mapping out the upcoming gradient changes so you can manage your remaining energy perfectly. Bottom line, the Garmin Edge 850 is a flawless, uncompromising investment for anyone truly serious about the sport of cycling. It connects instantly to every sensor imaginable, the rerouting mapping logic is deeply intelligent, and the battery easily survives massive, multi-day bikepacking trips. It doesn't just passively track your ride, it actively makes you a better, faster, and much smarter cyclist.